Okay, hello there. Firstly, welcome to the seminar. This seminar is all about, for those of you that are over 40, 50, 60, beyond, all about moving better, longevity. Well, not just longevity, but quality of life as well. And of course, weight loss. To begin, before I go on, just to explain who I am, how I've got here, if you like. Um, I've been in the fitness industry since the late 1990s. I did my first qualification in 1998. So yes, I am that old. You can see by the technology that I'm using for this seminar, for this presentation. It will give you a clue as to my age. Started off in corporate fitness way back when. Chase Manhattan, JP Morgan, Chase and Co. I think they believe that they're called now. Um, Moved abroad for a while, went to Dubai, different clubs in Dubai for a number of years. A bit of experience there. Came back, worked for one of the David Lloyd clubs, the one in Ringwood, for 12 years. Became a platinum personal trainer there. Did various courses. There was a David Lloyd branded Lose and Shape Up, which was a kind of small group nutrition, group exercise based course. Um, Learned lots there. Gone into the online world. Um, People's houses, train people at their houses, all different modalities, different ways of getting results. Of course, myself, I started as a youngster going to gyms back in the mid 1990s when they were just becoming mainstream. Always been fairly active. Hurt my back when I was 16, so I've had a dodgy back since then, so in relation to managing it, and probably led to me specializing in how to help other people with back and joint health. Um, had a thyroid problem in my late 20s, didn't know what a thyroid was until then. Affects gland in your neck that affects metabolism, affects temperature, and a number of other things that the thyroid regulates. And like I said, I didn't know it did all this until mine started going wrong. So now I don't have a thyroid per se, had the radioactive treatment. So those of you also that find obviously weight loss difficult with thyroid dysfunction, that's something I can help with and experience, more importantly. And yes, I've always this I'm going to say, well, it is hereditary. Flexibility. My flexibility up to about 15 years ago was shocking, and I suddenly realized in relation to back joint health that you can't just go in gyms to look a certain way. You've also got to be functional if you want to be active for the foreseeable future. So it dawned on me that I needed to do more of what I did with my clients, basically. So that's an overview of me. Quickly into this. Goals. So I want to see if what I've written here relates to your goals. Um, Absolutely, weight loss has been, I want to say the most popular goal, that the goal that since I've done this the last 25 years plus, been a coach, weight loss has been the single main goal that people have come to me for. And obviously, as we get post 30, 40, 50, 60 beyond, it does get harder for the reasons that I'll mention, but it's still absolutely possible. But I know in relation to weight loss, a lot of the time it's about, when we're looking at what we're trying to achieve, let's say in the next 6 months, if everything happened the way you wanted it to and achieve what you could in relation to your health and fitness goals, what would that look like? So I know weight loss is very much connected to self-esteem, to your overall health, in relation to how much energy, in relation to fitting better in clothes, in relation to even someone's outlook. I've seen as those people progress and get results through their exercise routine and losing weight per se. Their outlook tends to be different, more of an optimistic outlook. Of course, defying age, we're very aware that aging is a thing. It's going to happen to us all, although we can decide how quickly. Of course, joint, back health, mobility, keeping active for the future, not having to scale back what we want to do, being able to do the active stuff that we enjoy for as long as we want to feel strong, day to day, easier. It's no fun living with discomfort and muscle tightness, etc., and limited range of movement. I know about this as well. But at the end of the day, to feel better, and if you want to go deeper into your goals, to kind of know what your real goals are and the real goal itself, because a lot of people will come in to be saying, I want to lose weight, I want to feel fitter. The key to ask yourself is, why do you want those things? And then everyone gives me a different answer at this next stage. And then when you've got that next answer, keep asking why and why and why until you get almost an emotional connection to the goal, and that's your real goal. And then you can come back to that each time when motivation's waning or things are getting harder. Remind yourself of what your real goal is. Write it down, even better. And of course, all of those things, losing weight per se, although I'm going to call it losing body fat. I'll come back to why I'm making that distinguishing between the two in a second. And obviously moving better, how that relates to longevity and quality of life and keeping active as well. So those are the goals. And like I said, delve deeper, ask yourself why to get that real goal as to why it's your goal and why it's important to you. That current situation, that where you want to be and what will be happening differently, what's going on in the future that you want to lean into, that you really, really want. Do that first. Then we've got to look at what's currently happening that you want to change. So, age related, we're going to bring in, for women as well, can't escape menopause. We're going to bring that in as well. So maybe age-related, menopause-related, perimenopause-related, unexplained weight gain, body fat. That for us men, it tends to be midsection is where we store our body fat, but women, especially going through perimenopause onwards, more stored in the midsection, seems to gravitate to the midsection. Less energy, having less strength, feeling a little bit weaker, feel like you're aging faster suddenly. Like I said before, having to scale back on certain activities that you enjoy or feeling that you need to. Discomfort, joint, muscle, tightness, and generally not feeling yourself. These tend to be things that, in fact, if there's anything different in your goals on the last page and what you experience here, feel free to let me know. But not feeling yourself, that tends to be something that comes up time and time again. So we've gone through goals, we've gone through what you want to achieve, we've gone through what's currently happening that you don't want. And then, of course, for anything to change, there's probably going to need to be some action taken involving, obviously, exercise, nutrition. One of the major culprits then in relation to why a lot of those things are happening when you get to perimenopause, menopause, and with age as well, is something called sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is basically age-related muscle loss. Over time, and it's happening post-30 is when it starts, and it accumulates as we age. As you can see on the graph, for men, it's a bit more of an even decline. I'm going to use the word decline as we age. That's inevitable, but we can choose how fast. For women, you'll see in my graph, there's a big decrease in relation to sarcopenia, age-related muscle loss happening at perimenopause, menopause onwards. And then also bringing in the calories is to explain the unplanned weight gain, or the weight gain that seems to just happen on its own without having to change your nutrition habits. A lot of the time what's happening with sarcopenia is muscles decreasing the number of calories that we need. Our ability to process calories decreases. So as creatures of habit, which we all are, as we take on board the same number of calories, over time our body is needing less calories and less able to process them. So hence at some point we're, without knowing it a lot of the time, taking on board more calories than we need. So that's where unexplained weight gain comes from. But this is happening to us all post-30. Muscle sarcopenia, muscle starting to decrease, goes hand in hand, because every muscle attaches to skeletal system at somewhere, goes hand in hand with what's called osteopenia, or age-related bone loss as well. And obviously osteoporosis is brittle bones down the line. But like I said, there's going to be a decline, that's inevitable, but we can decide by what we're doing, by our external factors, by our lifestyle, how quickly that happens. Also, to make the distinguish that I'll be calling it from now on in fat loss, not weight loss, because weight loss is just changing the number on the scales, decreasing, becoming smaller. And for me, when we're going into age-related muscle loss and how important holding on to our muscle is, as I was saying, relates to bone health, metabolic health, immune system, energy. There's a whole list of things connected to preserving muscle. And the more research is happening, the more and more it's going to be one of the top markers, along with our cardiovascular fitness, as to our longevity and quality of life and health. So for me, it's preserving muscle at all costs. And if we're just going out to lose weight and trying to do that as fast as possible, we can't distinguish between whether we're losing fat weight or muscle weight. So the key is, what I'll be calling it from now on in, is fat loss, which is basically losing body fat, preserving or even increasing muscle if we can, which is something I do with clients for the reasons I was mentioning before. Okay, into, as I was talking action before, into different modalities of exercise. And essentially, in relation to reversing the aging process, there's a lot of, I can, if you want to follow them, I can, all their research and where they're appearing on social media, podcasts, there's a whole load of their medical professionals, women, probably had bad experiences with male health practitioners, and they've got their specialisms top of the field in whatever medical area they're in, and they're coming across to menopause health and longevity, etc. And this particular line was put in a really nice way, that in the absence of hormones regulating the body, or as we age, in the absence of the body regulating itself, and of course hormones do a lot to do this, so perimenopause onwards, it's physical stress, a couple of bouts of physical stress each week that do the same job as hormones as to regulating the body. And lifestyle nutrition, it was put, again, this is by a medical professional, that in relation to our total lifestyle habits, nutrition, exercise, how active we are, how much sleep we get, etc., 70% of major illnesses, diseases are lifestyle habit preventable. The key is, when I started in relation to doing the right thing, exercise, nutrition, and the right thing for you, when I first started doing this, I'm so old that the internet was just getting going. It's that long ago. Now information is, it's overload of information. Too much information, contradicting information, knowing what's right. So in relation to information, for me, very quickly, when I find out someone's goals, it's kind of making sure they're aware of the big rocks, the major things that are going to have the biggest difference. And then focusing on them, and then the rest can just be noise. And big rocks, have you ever heard the big rock analogy? Is like if you're filling a big jar with sand and rocks and pebbles, if you put all the sand in, all the small things first, you've got no room for the rocks. So the rocks go in first, basically. If I was to go through an ideal exercise structure, this is in relation to moving better, can be engineered for anything else like weight loss, longevity, health. This is how I structure exercise sessions more often than not with my clients, using the same structure myself as well. Is that when we first come in, foam rolling is great. I don't know if you're familiar with foam rolls, a cylindrical piece of foam that tends to be quite hard, and it's all about what's called SMR, self-myofascial release, technical term. It's just getting rid of knotty adhesions. And at the very least, I mean, I found it's helped me with mobility, flexibility, moving better over time, but at the very least, moving better before we start an exercise session. So next in the makeup of an exercise session, active stretching, not static stretching, but stretches where you move in and out of the stretch. It's all about getting the body ready for what's coming up. Again, moving better. Core stability from a vanity point of view always seems to be one of those, working the stomach muscles, for example, always seems to be right at the end of a routine. In my exercise structure, I always tend to put that next. So foam rolling, active stretching, core stability, getting the muscles firing, say deep stomach, backside muscles, getting them firing and holding you in place before we're going on to the next elements of exercise. Strength exercises. So if we're going to preserve muscle, we're going to need to do strength exercises. For me, it's all about the exercise that give you the biggest bang for your buck, as I would call it. And that means the exercise that got the biggest list of muscle groups. An exercise like a squat, if I'm squatting down into a squat position, I'm using entire lower body and I'm using muscles that hold me in place as well. Those in a nice list of exercises, etc. But as much as possible, I mean, you can do what's called isolation or arms, smaller movements at the end if you've got time. But yeah, the strength routine or portion of the makeup of the routine should be the big exercises. They're going to have the most effect. Interval cardio. I'll talk about that in a second. More in less time, and then right at the end of a routine, static stretching, and enough static stretches that we're promoting future flexibility and moving better. But moving better isn't just about stretching. We also need to be strong to be held in place. We need to be stable, and we need to be moving efficiently as well as being flexible. That's only a small component. Okay, next up, the strength training pyramid. So there's different types of strength training. And a lot of the time, gyms, to kind of keep it simple so there's not too much technique involved, tend to be very traditional, kind of what I call phase 3 onwards. Whilst phase 1 is doing stability type exercise. So I did that squat a second ago. The key of a squat, things like lunges, press ups, they're all exercises great to begin with, that we're not just working these what's called superficial muscles, we're also working the muscles that hold us in place as well. Big key at the beginning. I'm no builder, but if we're building a house from scratch, we probably need to be doing the footings, the foundation before we start putting in the walls and the fixtures and the fittings. So there's an order for each. We can come back down through the order and start again, but for me, I'm using different phases of strength training, stability always being the first one. So we're moving better and stabilizing the body before we're going on to strengthening and then power, etc., if that's needed. In fact, the research at the moment is stating that for women, the best way of preserving muscle is to go into heavy weight, low reps, and even plyometric type training, jump type training, etc. But we can't untrained walk into a gym and start doing those exercises. So we need to go through the different phases to get there. Interval training. So interval training is anything where the heart rate, you can see the graph, goes periods of steady active recovery followed by intensity, followed by recovery, followed by intensity. And it's the intensity, it's the ups, it's the bits that, say, 30-second sprint type pace, if you like, or the very least just needing to catch your breath. It's those intensities when we're going at the same speed, the body's in comfort zone, and remember, it's your external message that tells the body whether it needs to adapt and get fitter and improve or not. So that's why personal trainers are not evil, but that's why in terms of doing a certain number of reps of an exercise, we should be doing it. We don't need to do it till it's our absolute last one, but doing it so we're causing that little bit of physical stress, and then the body in between has to recover. Same with this cardio interval. So it's the interval of the cardio, the bit that leaves you a little bit out of breath and a little bit uncomfortable. That's the peak that says to the body where it is uncomfortable, that's the bit it needs to adapt to get fitter, to make it more comfortable. So hence intervals, and we don't need to be spending as much time doing cardio as we do on the steady state stuff. Lastly, this little, the calorie burn pyramid. So I see a lot of people coming in, obviously weight loss being the goal, and wanting to know which cardio machine burns, which number of calories. For me, as you can see, as I talk you through it, doesn't really need to be a concern. Just the fact that 60-70% of our calories expended are what's called the basal metabolic rate. Whether we get out of bed or not, we're still going to be burning 60-70% of our calories. Comes from all the stuff that we don't need to think about, the heart beating, breathing, everything that's going on in the body. Muscle that we're preserving equates to that number as well. What's called thermogenics, the body processing nutrients, digestion, that's quite calorifically expensive. How much we move around each day counts, is the one nearest the top. And then the very peak at the top is structured exercise, going to the gym. So it's a very insignificant amount of calories. So for me, if weight loss is the goal, spending more time making the body more efficient, fitter, preserving muscle in general, that would be more the key in relation to how exercise fits in. Nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist. I've certainly done qualifications, and certainly in relation to weight loss, certainly in relation to how it complements exercise, general health, longevity. Age and genetics certainly affect. This is the key why we almost gain weight behind our own backs as we age, is that the body becomes less good at processing nutrients. We all know these people that almost can eat what they want and they're not changing shape. Or you may have found that as you got to a certain point in age that you can no longer eat what you want, and it's, your shape's not changing. Perimenopause, some of those that I help, the women that I help are getting to perimenopause, realizing that unless they're now keeping track of their nutrition, it's easier to gain body fat. So age and genetics plays a part in how good our bodies are at processing nutrients. When we're younger, works really well. As we age, not as good. But we can, again, by preserving muscle, our level of fitness also dictates how good we're gonna be at this. Still looking at nutrition, I've studied it as long as the exercise side, 25 years plus. Nutrition, calories in, calories out still matter. Surplus of calories, we're going to gain. Deficit, we're going to lose. But again, preserving muscle is the key, even though we're trying to create a deficit. Blood sugar, different hormones, insulin, glucagon matter. The main thing with blood sugar is if our blood sugar goes too low, we're going to crave sweet things to get it back up again. The body's always wanting to keep different relation to health. I think it's called homeostasis, maintaining an equilibrium or keeping things between ranges. A bit like when we're temperature, we get too hot, we sweat, too cold, we shiver. It's keeping temperature. Same with blood sugar. So if our blood sugar goes too low, we crave sweet things to get it back up. But what we've got to be careful of is there's a blood sugar crash, a dip, if you like. We're going to crave sweet things, and our body's going to tell us to get that back up. So stabilizing blood sugar by balance of nutrients is a big key. And hence, leading on to that, protein is one of those nutrients that helps us balance our blood sugar. Protein, as well as I was saying, we're not able as we age, certainly perimenopause, menopause onwards, to process nutrients as well as we could before. So protein for all of us is one of those nutrients we need more of a supply of, because our body's not using all of the nutrients we're giving it very well, if that makes sense. So it's almost that we need a bigger supply. But protein is all about tissue maintenance, not just muscle, but tissue maintenance and repair, an ongoing process in the body. It goes deeper than just protein, though. We hear protein, and protein's been added to all these different foods. Essentially, it's more about the essential amino acids. I think there's 20. 9 are essential that the body can only get from the foods that we give it, and the other 11 it can make. But protein, I'm almost with my clients be saying at every meal, focus on your source of protein. Of course, whole foods. Whole foods, those with minimal ingredients. They don't need to have a label saying fortified with vitamins or source of whatever it is, because they naturally contain them. So yeah, and it's the balance of whole foods and fun foods. It's the balance together. Portion size counts as well. There's a great infographic I've used before that uses hand size to measure portion size. I can send that infographic to you. If it was a fat, then it's the same size as your thumb, cupped handfuls, etc. A deck of cards size portion of protein each meal, because it's very relative. Hand size is relative to all of our genetics. But creating the healthy, fun balance, that's the key. Because I'm not going to stand here and say that I'm eating whole foods 100% of the time. That's, we've got to have eating out, etc. You've got to have a life at the same time. So the key with everybody is habits and balance. So with nutrition, that's my role with the assistants as a coach. It's helping someone find the right balance of nutrients. That's more the key, that workable, ongoing balance, because this has to be a long-term thing. And with certainly the exercise and the nutrition together, it's our weekly habits that count. That's the key. All the science aside, it's what we do repetitively, week in, week out. It doesn't need to be anything that should still fit in with our busy lives. In fact, that's the key, fitting it into a busy life as a coach. That's what I support and someone do. Down to habits and balance. That's the key, and finding that workable, ongoing on ongoing habits and balance. I've got something new. Obviously, I am a trainer. I still do the individual stuff. So if you need more help on that side, feel free to let me know. There's complimentary appointments you can do. Also want to tell you about something new that I've got, if that's okay. Okay, thank you. So it's called Restart Restore. It's an exercise system and a nutrition system at the same time. It's groups. So in groups, in small groups, it's the same system I use in my personal training on a one-to-one basis with clients. Exact same system. But as it opens, usually at any one time, I'm only monthly looking for 5 people maximum per month, just to make sure that I'm giving everyone the necessary support and help to achieve goals. Any more than that, it doesn't seem to work. 2 big goals: fat loss, moving freely, which obviously connect to longevity, quality of life, being active for as long as you want to. Results can be seen in 30 days. Typically, everyone that follows this to the letter, probably the first month, I'm not going to lie, is the hardest to get these habits installed. And then from then it becomes an ongoing process. There's no minimum time to be signed up for. You kind of do this until, like my personal training clients, the one-to-ones, you do this until you feel that you can do this on your own, which is the ideal as a coach, is where I'm trying to help you to get to. With the groups, we have a weekly meetup. So we measure. I've got a body composition measurer that measures body fat, measures muscle water. We're using that. You can't, bit of accountability, no matter what you're doing, whatever you're telling me at the weekly measure, you can't really tell the device, the measurer, you can't get around the measurer. Of course, advice, different ways of doing things, that support. Coaches, usually our job, we'll find that there's things that you come to roadblocks and you get stuck with different things. It's very much usually a good coach will help you get past that may have made you stuck in the past, led to you even giving up. A coach will help you get over that barrier onto the next stage. So advice where needed, help, support, like I said, being able to do things differently, being able to fit things in, making sure that your valuable energy, time is going to the right things. And it's all about having not doing group exercise in person, but certainly having plans, going through techniques, using those weekly meetups to make sure you're doing the right things. And of course, whether it's a plan, whether it's one-to-one, it's designed to meet you where you're currently at, your current level of fitness, to then enable you to progress further. Okay, that's the group format. If you're interested in that, send me a message with the word group. No obligation. We can have a chat about it first to see if it's right for you. Or if it's one-to-one, you need more help, then of course you can have a free complimentary personal training taster, again, to see if it's right for you. Like the groups, to see if we're a good fit, if you believe that I can help you. Usually we'll do some kind of sit down, some kind of consultation first, go through your goals. With the one-to-one personal training, maybe have some kind of taster. At the end of the taster, again, no obligation, there never is. If you feel that it's going to help you progress, then we can enter into a conversation and see which package, based on your goals, based on what you want to achieve, based on budget, will work best for you. Whatever you choose, whether it's group, you want to find out more about that, send me a message, group. If you want to find more about the one-to-one, maybe just send me a message, interested. I can come back to you. You can have a bit of backwards and forwards messaging and take it from there. Okay? Any questions you can fire at me. Thank you for watching this little seminar, and I look forward in the future to helping you with your health and fitness, your longevity, weight loss, moving better, being active for as long as you want to in any way, shape or form I can. Thanks for watching. See you again. Any questions? Fire away.